Module 12, the lymphatic system. Functions of the lymphatic system. The first function of the lymphatic system is fluid balance. The lymphatic system plays a key role in maintaining the balance of fluids in your body. Without it, your body would continue to have a buildup of interstitial fluid and your tissues would swell up. This condition is called edema. Edema is a buildup of excess interstitial fluid in the tissues, which leads to swelling. What happens is this. Capillaries have very thin walls for gas and nutrient exchange. Well, as blood moves through the capillaries, clear fluid gets pushed out. That's because the blood in the capillaries is under pressure, so some fluid squeezes out of tiny pores in the capillaries as a result of this pressure. Of course, the blood cells and large molecules cannot fit through these small openings, so the only thing that leaks out is the fluid. Now, you may remember that blood plasma is made up of fluid with proteins and other chemicals dissolved into it. So because these chemicals cannot make it out of the capillaries, the clear fluid that leaks out of the capillaries is different than blood plasma. It does have oxygen and nutrients that cells can use, though. Now, once this fluid leaves the capillaries, it's referred to as interstitial fluid. This important fluid surrounds the cells, delivering the oxygen and nutrients to them, and taking up carbon dioxide and wastes. And as I said in an earlier section, about 90% of this interstitial fluid finds its way back into the capillaries so it can take the carbon dioxide and waste products to the parts of the body for elimination. It moves back via osmosis. That's because the solute concentration of the fluids inside the capillary, with proteins and other chemicals in it, is greater than the concentration of materials in the interstitial fluid. The rest of the interstitial fluid does not drain back into the capillaries, but it needs to go somewhere or it will prevent future leaking of material out of the capillaries, preventing cells in the tissue from getting more oxygen and nutrients. So the remaining 10% of the interstitial fluid is picked up by the lymph capillaries. Then it moves to the larger lymphatic vessels and eventually to one or more lymph nodes where it will be filtered. Once it's filtered, it will move back into the bloodstream via one of the two subclavian veins in the shoulder area. You can see here how lymph that ends up in the right lymphatic duct drains into the right subclavian vein, and lymph that is in the thoracic duct drains into the left subclavian vein. Thanks to the lymphatic system, the body maintains its fluid balance because it picks up the remaining interstitial fluid that doesn't make its way back into the capillaries. There's a disease called elephantiasis, which is when a person's legs swell to a very large proportion due to edema. It occurs in tropical areas because of parasites which can get into the lymph vessels and block lymph flow. The lymph backs up in the vessels and then no more interstitial fluid can drain into the lymph capillaries. Thus, the tissues begin to swell. The second function of the lymphatic system is the absorption of fats from the digestive system. You will learn more about this when we study digestion, but for now you need to know some of the basics of it. The small intestine has specialized lymph capillaries in its lining. They're called lacteals, and they collect fats, which the small intestine absorbs during digestion. The fluid in the lacteals becomes whitish due to the fats inside it. At this point, that fluid is given another name, chyle. Chyle makes its way back to the bloodstream via the left subclavian vein, and this is how fats make it to the circulatory system. There's one more function of the lymphatic system, immunological defense. Immunological defense is the process by which the body protects itself from pathogenic invaders such as bacteria, fungi, parasites, and foreign substances. You can imagine that this final function will take a bit of discussion because the body is amazingly designed to fight off a myriad of invaders. So we will take some of the next few sections to go over this process, learning more about the lymph nodes and spleen, which provide filtering, as well as white blood cells that provide a full attack on the foreign invaders.